Is now the best time to buy Solana, or are you better off waiting for a deeper correction so you can get a much better price? Are we going to see the price shoot off? Or again, are we going to get that pullback? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to cover some expert TA with 4 independent technical factors that cuts through the noise. In other words, it's a cheat code. We don't need to know all the fundamentals, the news, the update, the TPS, etc., etc. I'm going to show you a way to really see what's very likely to occur. My name is Jagir Singh. I was featured in the best-selling book High Probability Trading Strategies back in 2008. And I'm also the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. So with that said, let's dive straight in and see what's the likely price action with Solana. If you're not familiar with technical analysis, by far I've found it to be the best way of reading price action, and it has stood the test of time. And we're going to be using 4 independent technical factors. The first one is something called Elliott wave theory. Now, what I want to make really clear is the fundamentals are already baked into the price. So the price is like the cheat code, the shortcut that tells us everything that we need to know. Now, the beauty of Elliott wave is it reads crowd psychology, or allows us to read crowd psychology of what's likely to occur, but by itself is not a strong enough strategy. We want to combine it with price, time, and momentum, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So when I'm looking at this chart, I've got 3 degrees of wave counts, and I just want to talk you through this. The first one is in the blue. With Solana, we had this initial move up, and then we had this long drawn-out correction, and then we had this really nice impulsive move, which we call a wave 3, but it broke down to a nice 5-wave structure. So when we're looking at the market, we're always looking for 5s and 3s. It's the most typical common buying and selling behavior. But then after a wave 3, we anticipate a wave 4. And wave 4 has particular characteristics. And what we want to ask ourselves is, this pullback here, is this a wave 4? As in the completion of a wave 4, and then we should see a continuation of the trend? Or is this just the beginning of wave 4, and we are indeed going to see a bigger degree correction? Well, I believe it's the latter, and I'm going to argue the case of why. The first thing is, wave 4 is a comparable correction to wave 2 of the same degree. Now, stick with me here because it's going to make perfect sense once you understand this. So we're looking at the blue wave count, right? I call it the macro wave count here. And this is the wave 2 of that wave count. And the wave 4 should be comparable in both time and price. And what you can see here is that this movement down is much less in time than this movement. So that's our first clue to say this is probably not the completion of a wave 4. The second factor is the wave 4 in the blue, which is the largest degree, and I'm going to compare it to the green, should be a bigger correction in both time and price than any former correction in the wave 3. I know I said a lot there. It might not have been English to you, but I'm going to make sense of it. So the lower degree wave count is this green one over here. We call it literally a lower degree. And then there's going to be a higher degree, which we're not going to talk so much about today. But the 2 corrections in this lower degree is this wave 2 and this wave 4. They're 2 corrections. So the first one, let's just draw a pink box to make it incredibly clear. We go, this is the wave 4. Then we're going to ask ourselves the question, is this current wave 4 that's occurring bigger? Well, the answer is yes. It's bigger in both price, because it's gone below this low, and time, because it's gone beyond this hub over here. So we go, okay, that qualifies. However, what about this correction? Well, again, let's just draw the pink box in terms of the wave 2 from over, I think the low was actually over here, in terms of time and price. So now when I drag this up over here, we can ask ourselves the question, has it been bigger in price than that wave 2? We go, yes. What about time? Well, the answer is no to time. So that's another clue that indicates that this is not the wave 4 low. This is going to be important if you want the best possible price for Solana, especially if you're buying and holding for the next leg up. I believe you can get a much better price. And let me tell you why in just a bit more detail in a second. There's another factor which you want to be really, really aware of. Now, corrections are typically in 3 waves and in an overlapping structure. Now, this is really, really important. It's one of the most valuable things when it comes to Elliott wave theory. So this over here is something like an overlapping structure where the price movement is overlapping. And this over here would be an impulsive structure where the waves are not overlapping. Now, corrections are normally like this and pretty much never, almost never, end like this. So when we're looking at this price action here, we're going to ask ourselves the question, what does it look like? Does it look corrective or does it look impulsive? Now, to me, it looks like a very clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a lower degree wave count again. So in my opinion, from a pattern perspective, and we're going to support it with price, with time, and with momentum as well. We want 4 independent technical factors, and in the ideal world, all 4 align, but at least we want 3, or at minimum, at least 2. So the first one, we're still focused on pattern over here, is that this looks like a 5-wave pattern. So I believe this is just the first leg of the correction. What is likely to occur is an A, B, C of a wave B, and then we're more than likely going to get another 5-wave move to the downside. That's going to be comparable to this. It's going to be bigger than this in time and bigger than this in price, and it will more than likely be over here. And we're going to get a bit more precise in a moment with what that price action is. So hopefully that makes sense. And by the way, if you're liking this content so far, like, subscribe to the channel. I want to bring more value to you, and let me know what other assets you want me to look at to do high-level expert TA on. I say expert. Hey, look, I've been doing this for 18 years, and markets are pretty typical in terms of the way buying and selling behavior occurs, whether it's Solana, whether it's other crypto pairs, or whether it's gold, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's the euro US dollar. It's pretty much the same thing. It's the beauty of this strategy. So next, normally, actually we'll cover price. We're going to cover price action next. And what we're going to talk about is the wave 3 relationship to wave 4. And there's a couple of things, but the most basic one is a retracement, Fibonacci price retracement. And I'm going to just draw this onto the chart. It's the most typical buying and selling behavior, where it's going to take the low of wave 3 and the high of this wave 3. And with wave 4s, typical minimum is 38.2% to 50% and a maximum of 62%. And we can see we're in that price range. So when we're talking from a technical perspective, because one of the things I really love about technical analysis is it's very objective, logical, non-emotional, which we can cut out the noise. We don't have to dispute on this or that. It's just literally it is or it isn't. So it's pretty binary. So what we can say here is wave 4 does not look complete from a pattern perspective, but it has hit the minimum price perspective, price analysis. In other words, it's hit the minimum 38.2%. So if we were pleading our case, is this a wave 4? From a pattern perspective, we say no. From a price perspective, we say yes. But this is where time analysis can really separate the men from the boys. In other words, we can see what is the minimum expected time. We're going to do a couple of factors here. Minimum expected time for a wave 4 correction. This is pretty advanced. Most people don't even know you can do time analysis. We're going to measure how long did it take for this wave 3 to form. This was a very impulsive wave 3, like it overextended immensely. Right? We're going to measure it, and then we're going to project forward 2 ratios, which is the typical minimum and then the typical maximum. And I'm using the word typical in terms of the most common buying and selling behavior. So let's just do that over here. And I'll show you how to do this actually. If you click on this icon on the left-hand side on TradingView, there's a tool called Trend-Based Fib Time. We're going to click on that. And it's 3 clicks. We're going to click on the beginning of wave 3. Let me just do that again. Beginning of wave 3. The end of wave 3. And we see we've got these 2 time ratios. 38.2, which is depicted by 0.382, and the 0.618, which is 62%. That's the typical zone. And now we've got a price and time zone, which is really going to be useful because this is really reliable stuff. I mean, it's advanced, even though I'm really simplifying it. It's advanced stuff, and you can really lean on this because more often than not, the markets play out like this. So now what we have is, from a pattern perspective, is going no. It's not looking like a wave 4. From a price perspective, it's saying yes, we've hit the minimum criteria. From a time perspective, we're also saying no. Why? Because we have not come to the minimum time over here. That further supports the case that any movement to the upside is still probably going to be a part of a correction of a wave 4, and then we're probably going to get another move to the downside to complete a wave 4 over here. The other factor is, again, we did it earlier, but I'm just going to do it with this tool over here. We're going to measure how long did this wave 2 take, and I'm going to project it from up here. And the ratio that I want is the 100%. And what we can see is that the 100% of wave 2, in terms of how long did this wave 2 take, if we measure it and project it from here from a time perspective, we can see it falls right bang in the middle over here. That further supports the case. And then another factor that we want to do is, we've done it already, I'm just going to make it a bit more clearer, is measure the lower degree wave 2 of the wave 3, this basically here, project it forward, which is what this pink box was, but let's just do it as a horizontal line. So let's just do that over here. Let's measure this. And this, what we want to say is the low should be beyond this point. And we can see that it falls short of this point. So we want to say this should be the absolute minimum. So it should go beyond this, but really the most common is here. So now this is now building, like, it's almost like a law case to go, the jury's out on this. We're going, okay, looking at it from the 4 independent technical factors, we're going, okay, it's not looking like the wave 4 is finished yet. So we're probably going to get a further pullback. Right, let's just move over to the last one now. We're going to use momentum, right? We're going to use momentum. So what you see over here, you see the squiggly lines down here. Now, momentum measures the rate of change, acceleration and deceleration of the market. And there's thousands of momentum indicators. There's MACD, there's RSI, there's Bollinger Band, there's exponential moving averages, simple moving averages. The list goes on. There's MACD, etc., etc. By far, my favorite is the stochastics RSI. It's very simple and logical. And I've created these 2 dashboards down here. Now, these are something that I've got coded. But basically, what this does to me, or for me, is it tells me the higher degree momentum and the lower degree. And there's a saying in trading, the trend is your friend, ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. In other words, you want to ride the trend and go in the direction of the trend. So the immediate momentum is bullish. So here it says strong uptrend. So I'm going to tell you how I calculate this, by the way. Let's just go to a quick weekly chart. And basically this bullish momentum here, where the blue line crosses over the red, and this momentum over here, the top one represents this and the bottom one represents this. So they both indicate that we should be sideways to up for a few weeks. Right? They both indicate we should be sideways to up for a few weeks. Now, does that violate our thesis in terms of how we're building this picture? Well, the answer is no. Because even though we should be sideways to up for a few weeks, what we want to look at is, I'm going to go a bit advanced here, so stick with me because this will really kind of give you the knowledge that you need, but I'll do it in a punchy fashion. I'm going to just zoom into this part of the market. All right, let's just focus on this part of the market for a second. I'm just going to look at it from here. Right, anytime you see a 5-wave move to the downside, I'll get rid of this line for now. Anytime you see a 5-wave move to the downside, the minimum expectation is a 3-wave correction to that 5-wave move, independent of what's occurred before. So this can be really, really useful. So we've got this. Let me just make it a bit more accurate here. Let's just do it so it's bang on. We've got this 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't get much cleaner than that. It's a pretty clean 5-wave move. And now the momentum is saying it should be sideways to up. So what should that be? Well, what we should anticipate always is a move like this. Now, some of my clients, I know I've got them trading this, going long on this part, but with the thesis that we're only going to get a correction, an A, B, C. So let's just draw this out. It's a bit advanced. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'll do it very quickly. Is we can do a technical analysis. And again, just like we did for the other way around, we can get a price and time zone for a typical wave B zone. And I'll draw this out for you. Again, I don't frequently do forecasting for the sake of forecasting because we're here to make money. So we just want to look for, good optimum times to buy and sell, take profits, etc. So what we're really looking for is a minimum of some type of A, B, C. And I like to just make it the same degree of wave count, just so it's a really clear picture. So we can look at it like this. This is what we're expecting. So the weekly momentum suggests we should be sideways to up for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, thereabouts. And the dates given are between the 18th of May to the 28th of May. So we're talking about pretty much the rest of this month, a couple of weeks, thereabouts. And if it goes beyond that, then we'll put in the 100%, which will be up here. So we only draw this one if it goes beyond this date over here. So why am I covering this? Why is this important? Well, this will support the case that yes, we should anticipate sideways to up, but it's very likely that this high, I'll read out the price, this high of $210 thereabouts with Solana should not get exceeded, or if it does get exceeded, not by much, because there are correction types that can exceed that, but still get a movement to the downside. So now let's just finalize what do we anticipate is going to likely happen. So let me just kind of complete this. And I know again, I don't like forecasting for the sake of forecasting, but for the sake of this content, so I'm just trying to copy and paste this. So it's a bit quicker for me to put in a wave B. Because remember, we're doing 3 degrees of wave counts, which can be very, very powerful for us. Now let's just zoom back out, get the whole picture back into context over here. Let's bring back the wave 4 analysis. And then finally, what I believe is likely to happen. Now again, there's factors, we want to always keep in mind, I don't personally care about being right or wrong, right? Because some people just like being right or wrong. No, I'm here to make money. So I'm just looking at what will validate this and what would invalidate this. Now, if we do get a strong 5-way move to the upside and it goes above here, we just need to reevaluate what the market is doing. So with the data available right now, this is the best wave count that I can see from my 18 years of experience looking at this. So with that said, what we're going to expect is if it unfolds like this, and it is an if, then we would anticipate another 5-wave move to the downside to complete a potential wave. Let me just do it like this. A potential wave C of a wave 4. Now, I'm drawing it in different colors just so you can see the difference in annotation in terms of the degrees of wave counts. Because how you want to think about this is there's waves within the waves. There's psychology within the psychology. There's, FOMO, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People feel different ways. And wave 4 is a typical profit-taking wave. Now, it's really important to note that this wave 3 was overextended. Like, even when I was doing the analysis, I was expecting it to go over here, even though I helped my clients really ride this part of the wave over here because there was some extra buying opportunities over here. It's overextended. Typically when you got a wave 1 and a wave 2, typical wave 3 will probably be around here, but it really overextended. So what does that mean? Well, people made a lot of profits. So it's more than likely we're going to get a deeper wave 4. I'm probably going to test the extremes of wave 4 and the extremes of the lower degree wave 4. So I say this with high confidence, but only time will tell. So at the beginning, I said, is now a great time to buy Solana? Well, if you're a short-term trader, well, the answer is kind of potentially yes, if you want to just ride this wave over here. So you can make a nice 2, 3, 400% risk reward, thereabouts. But then do anticipate that we're more than likely, and again, hear my words, it's more than likely, never guaranteed, but 70 to 90% of the time, it tends to play out like this, is if this occurs, this will be a next much better buying opportunity, and then we'll expect a wave 5 high. Now, in my last video, people were asking for price projections and predictions, etc. So let me just give you the extremes. So the extreme of this wave 4 low, if it does unfold like this, is around $89. Now, if we do go bang on and hit $89 by, let's just call it early August. So we are talking about sideways to down until August over here. If that does occur, what would be the next price projections? And I'll do it very quickly. I'll do the basic one, like just the typical. And I know I've got a lot of lines on the chart over here. In fact, we can get rid of these. Let's just get rid of these. Right, one of the reasons I like to draw the pink boxes is it means I can just get rid of all these lines. There's a particular relationship between wave 4 and wave 5. In all honesty, I'm guessing it's probably going to exceed this because crypto being crypto, and if we do get a really strong bull run, we're probably going to see exceed this. But I would anticipate at least $280 with Solana. What would be the ambitious kind of aggressive, if it really overextends? Well, the next ratio will be 2.618. In fact, I'll just do these. I won't cover exactly what these ratios are, but it's a really reliable buying and selling behavior that we have over here. A typical maximum, it'll probably even go beyond this, but $440 with Solana. So to summarize, I'm anticipating Solana to have a pullback like next 2-3 weeks, sideways to up, but to not exceed $210. If that's the case and we get our next momentum bearish reversal, we're more than likely going to pull back to around $89. If that occurs and we get the reversal, we can then anticipate a wave 5. A wave 5, that's probably going to last a while. We can also do some time analysis, but we should anticipate it to get to a minimum of $280 and more than likely overextend to around $440. And again, the way it's unfolding, as and when that occurs, we can anticipate and read the market from there also. Today we went into a lot of detail. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and let me know what other coins would you like me to cover to do some detailed technical analysis. We're going to look at 4 independent technical factors that cuts through the noise and we can be objective with our decision making when it comes to buying and selling, whether it's buying or taking profits, because exiting and taking profits is probably a harder skill to master. But if you can see high probability price and time zones and reversals that indicates the end of a trend, well, we want to get out of the market and wait for a pullback if you're only going on the long side. And if you're trading, remember, you can do this on the long side, but also make money on the short side again. Until then, I'll see you next time.